If you're anything like me, cleaning your motorbike is a therapeutic experience. In this video, I'll show you my process and how I go about keeping my MT-01 spick and span. And I also go into applying a copious amount of ACF50 ready for the winter, or even storing it away. I've already removed the under tray and I've hooked the front up on just a cart jack so I can get good access to the front wheel. Then I remove the chain cover on the right hand side. My chain cleaner of choice is True Tension chain cleaner. It's really good and pretty powerful actually, but doesn't leave any nasty marks on your paintwork. Then get yourself a detail brush and just go right in there and just mash it all up, get that grease off. It works really well, these detail brushes, and the back end of a chain cleaning brush as well, which is getting all the rough parts out. And then just the other side and just run the chain through. Get yourself a nice clean rag and run that through as well. Gets all the grime off, ready for jet washing. Then you can use chain cleaner to clean your brakes as well. Get your hose out. You don't have to use a jet wash, but I use the muck off one. It's really good this because it's not too harsh. Doesn't blast away all the grease in the bearings that you don't want it to blast away. Using the motorcycle nozzle. And away you go. Just make sure you get into all the nooks and crevices, all underneath the bike. You want to give it a good wet first before applying any shampoo or detergents or any other degreaser. Next up, I apply muck off motorcycle cleaner. I usually use True Tension monkey spray, I think it's called, but I had this in the garage and it's just as good, but make sure that you give it a good rinse afterwards. Use that loads. Then have a little cup of tea while it works. Once you finish your tea, get to work with a nice bucket of warm water and a motorcycle brush. I use the Oxford ones, I'll put the link down below. Then get yourself a nice microfiber cloth and just run over the bike with all the parts that you want to be absolute spick and span, getting in all nooks and crannies and just giving the bike a good old rub over with the microfiber cloth. Giving it some love. Again, just get your brush and just work it all into the nooks and crevices of the engine if you want to. You need to find out what works for you cleaning your bike. This is what works for me and I've done this for years. Again, just back with the microfiber cloth around the wheels, around all the brakes, and then give it another jet wash. Wash off all the soap. Make sure you get right in there. And then I like to apply a bit of snow foam and just let that sit for a while. Snow foam. And then I go over it again with a microfiber cloth this time and it looks spick and span. Once again, another jet wash. Just getting it all in there, making sure all the soap's off. You do not want to leave any soap behind. There's lots of sodium in soap, so you've got to be careful that that doesn't sit on the bike, that'll eat it away. Next up, I like to get my air dryer and use that just to blast off all the excess water. You can see it's blasting it all away. Now what you'll see there, the engine cover looks really nasty there, and it is, but the ACF50 makes sure they'll work with that later. So again, back to that, just blowing off all the water. You can see it blasting it all out. It's really handy this is a really good way of making sure the water's completely out. You can see it blasting it out of the axle there. These are just pet air dryers, but they work really well in this situation. Get yourself one, they're a lifesaver. Next up, another microfiber cloth. It looks a bit grimy, but it's perfectly clean, this one. And just giving the bike a good old polish and making sure the rest of the water is all removed. So you don't leave any watermarks anywhere. Look at those acros. I love those pipes. Again, just working over the engine with the microfiber cloth. Getting rid of any other marks you might have missed. I like to polish the wheels up with it as well. Make them nice and shiny again. Then I like to give the bike a good start. My neighbours love this part. They always open their windows to have a look or look for the curtains. And then what I do is it warms up and it just burns off any excess water that might be sitting on the engine or in bits you just can't get to. There she is, chugging away. Love the noise this bike makes. There's any excuse to let it sit and run. Next up, I'll put some chain lube on. This stuff's really good, it doesn't fling off. You don't really need to warm the chain up before you put it on. You can just put it on after it's been cleaned. Just give it a good wipe to get off the excess. Then I'll get some old bed sheets and I wrap them around the wheels, and you'll see why in a minute. That's the back one done. In the front. You need to wrap them over because you're going to be ACF50ing it and you want to be able to squat it everywhere. Remove the saddle. And also cover up your handlebars where you need to, which is like the grips and the brakes, things like that. Then decant some ACF50 into a squirty bottle. Let that sit in a bucket of water for a good few minutes, hot water. And it stops it being all gloopy and makes it spray properly, which you'll see here. Get a nice fine mist, there we go. You can squirt that all over the bike and not worry about getting it in the wrong places, although I did make a fatal mistake and forgot to cover up my foot pegs. But you'll see it makes it look really shiny. Do not get this on your tyres, do not get this on your brakes. Then get a rag. I have an ACF50 specialist rag. This is actually an old muslin that babies use, and it works an absolute treat. And what you're doing is just wiping off all the excess and just covering the whole bike. Works an absolute treat, and the bike looks really good afterwards. As you can see, those engine covers, which look a bit ropey, now look pretty good. So we can now remove the old bed sheets. These are like fitted sheets, they work really well because of the elastic around them, they sort of cling onto the wheels. And then just go over the rubber bits on your handlebars. You can actually use the brake levers, indicators, anything that's plastic or metal that you don't have to grip or put your feet on or ride on, like wheels and brakes and stuff like that, you can cover in ACF50. Then I put back on the under tray. Put back on the saddle. Start the bike up and let it run. Again, just burning off any excess water, ACF50, stuff like that. And that's basically it. Now you just stand back and admire your beautiful motorbike. It's just so shiny. Thanks everyone for watching. Give me a subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time on Tom's TC.